You're ready to get your first or next credit card. You're finding out the value of these credit cards. You have a ton of data points on the type of credit scores, how many new accounts you should or shouldn't have. You're finding out what bureaus to pull from. But there's one component that we rarely, if ever, hear about when it comes to applying for credit cards to understand where you need to be to have the best chance to get approved. That's income. What type of income do you need to have? How is income calculated or looked at when it comes to underwriting for credit cards so you can improve your approval odds with any credit card, any bank, any lender? So when it comes to income, when it comes to credit card applications, it's a little convoluted. It's kind of tough because by law, credit cards companies are forced to make sure that you have the ability to repay that credit card. It's literally government law. That having been said, when you do applications for credit cards, credit card companies pretty much tell you any and everything but put down anything on the application. If you've done one, you know what I'm talking about. They'll take anything from W-2 and 1099 income to public assistance, income from another person who's paying your bills or that you're living with. They'll literally take anything, for income. You literally just state whatever it is that you use for income and they're like, okay, great, here's the card. So they don't seem to care much on the application in the sense of speaking, but then you put the application in and depending on your income, your debt ratios, your housing payments, you can get declined. Or sometimes you get a significant starting limit, a really high unexpected starting limit. So where does this fit in? Like, what does it look like income-wise? So the two major predicating factors, believe it or not, when it comes to income on a credit card application, is not the same as many other lending products per se. They really lean in the most on utilization and DTI, debt to income ratio. Utilization in the component of making sure that the other limits that you have or debt load that you have versus what's available on your credit report, of course, like available credit limit wise on your credit report, but also kind of like the DTI component within utilization, which is basically saying I have so much in monthly expenses reported on my credit report and I have this much income. You have, let's just say $1,000 in monthly expenses reported on your credit report, but you have $3,000 a month in income. You have a 33% debt to income ratio. That is more of what credit card companies are looking at. They're not blatantly just looking at, oh, you make $80,000 a year, you're good. Like, oh, $100,000 a year, you're good. It's more of a situation where they are looking at it saying, this person only makes $30,000 a year or $25,000 a year, but they have no debt load on their monthly expenses report, and there's nothing on their credit report as far as debt expenses. So at that point, that $25,000, $30,000 a year is clean. That's solid. You can get a really solid credit card limit on a really solid credit card with $25,000 or $30,000. It's very possible you can get a $5,000, maybe even a $10,000 credit limit at that low of an income. And I'm not saying that disrespectfully for anybody who makes that kind of income. I'm just saying in reference to the bigger picture. On the flip side, you can make $100,000 a year in verifiable income, but you have, if $100,000 a year breaks down into around $8,300 and something a month in income, but you have $6,000 a month in monthly expenses showing. You have a mortgage for $5,000, you have a car note for another $1,000, etc. You can get denied. Literally, you can get denied for the exact same credit card that somebody with $25,000 a year got approved for. Very sensitive to DTI. There's no minimum income requirement when applying for credit cards. That's something very important to know. There's no minimum threshold. You can put now you make $5,000 a year, depending on your other financial metrics like your credit score, your utilization, your DTI, your banking relationship, of course, is becoming a bigger and bigger thing. If you check those other markers off, you can still get approved for a credit card, even though you might only make hundreds of dollars a month technically on paper. So it's very important when you're applying for credit cards, follow those other data points to the best of your ability. But when it comes to the income component, you want to lean in on the utilization and the DTI component within utilization. You want to make sure that you're showing a large gap between your income, your gross monthly income, and your monthly expenses. That is the most important component when it comes to the income part of your application and getting approved and getting the best limits. They're very sensitive to your limits based on your DTI. So, you getting approved and meeting the threshold with your credit score, not having too many new accounts, too many inquiries, any derogatories, etc., will cross the threshold and you getting approved. Your income, your DTI starts to really lean in on the kind of credit limit you're gonna get. Very important. So make sure when you're applying that you have a verifiable income that you can state that is sizable. I would say a good threshold, like a ceiling, around 30% or so, you know, like, and I say that in the sense of your monthly expenses when you apply versus your monthly income. You don't want to be, if you can help it, you don't want to be above 30% if you want to make room for a decent limit on a decent credit card. Ideally, you want that to be under 10%. And if you notice, that's very much in line with the utilization metrics on your credit scoring models. 30% is considered the highest level to still have a good utilization. 10% is the sweet, 10% below is that 0 to 10% is that sweet spot. Same thing with your DTI on your credit card applications. Ideally, do your best to be at or below 30% on total monthly expenses versus your gross monthly income. And ideally, under 10% is going to get you the best results on your credit application. Remember how flexible income is on your credit applications. Do not get stuck on just your job income. If you have income from other sources, and that includes other people who consistently contribute to your money in your bank account or help pay bills, you split rent, you have a household income, you have public assistance, Social Security, dividends and interest. Let's just say you have $100,000 in a CD that's getting you, you know, right now in today's world, this time of this recording, $2,000 or $3,000 a year in interest. Put that down on your application. That counts. You're getting dividends from a stock portfolio. That counts. So don't short yourself on the income component when it comes to applying for credit cards either. Comment down below and let me know what your experience has been applying for credit cards, and if you had any experience where you weren't aware of the DTI metric and the utilization metric and you've been denied, or you've got a surprising income, you got approved for a credit card and got a surprising limit, and you think your income might have played a part in that. Comment down below. Other than that, to all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. If you want to learn more about myself and the channel, start in the description section, work your way to the About section on the channel. I want y'all to stay focused, stay in motion. See y'all soon.
This is JP from Blueprint for Prosperity Network, a channel dedicated to helping you increase your net worth through relationship banking, maximizing your borrowing capacity, the proper use of life insurance, and the ownership of real estate. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm uploading content on a daily basis to help you customize your blueprint for prosperity.